JLR Rock percent off collector, and we're here with another action figure unboxing and review. Thanks for checking out the channel. I focus on getting discounts, which means it can be garage sales, estate sales, bootlegs, KOs. I don't care, because if there's a deal, then I'm going to get the item. And that's what we have here today. We have the Revoltech amazing Yamaguchi Agent Venom, but not. Because I got this from AliExpress, which so far has been good. There's really only been one bad, and if you go to our sister channel, Women of Action Figure, you'll see our fail video on the April O'Neil that was not good. So now we're gonna find out if this is worth it, even for the low price, and is it worth it to add to part of your collection. All right, so we're gonna open this bad boy up, but first of all, you can already see that the box has some damage. But I will say, I always tell people that if you're ever interested in buying from AliExpress, try to understand that you probably can't be a box collector, because no matter what, it's gonna come jacked up. And this was actually packaged pretty well. It actually had like a huge bubble wrap thing, like huge bubble wrap, and it was inside that. Then it was poly bagged, but it still has the damage. Now this is actually really good, especially for AliExpress generally, but obviously for people who are box collectors, they'll still have a problem with it. But I assume that, that'd be a good question. I know everyone asks for comments, but I'm curious, when you go after a KO, is a box, keeping the boxes important? Because there might be more evident on a box that something is KO than if it's just sitting on the shelf and someone walks by. So I'm curious if people would keep boxes. I know, like Transformers, some of the G1s, the boxes look like really good. So I could see that in that case. So I'm curious about that. But let's get a quick look at this on each side, on the back. And so I'll just tell you straight up, I got this for $19.86. So I'm always like, hey, look, for the price, I'm going to try something out. Especially, it just looked cool. I saw some reviews that people liked it, all the accessories it comes with. So I was like, hey, I'll give it a shot. And I did actually open just to make sure that it wasn't broken on the inside. And this is, let me just show you what I'm talking about better than normal. So most of the time when you do get the AliExpress, and once you open the box, there's no extra padding. But the fact that here they put extra, I've ordered a bunch of stuff from here, and you're gonna see a lot of videos with different stuff that I've gotten from them. So of course, do the subscribe and notification button, because I have a backlog like crazy. But I can tell you, I have not, as of yet, seen the extra packaging here. Like, you see this here? Like, I've never seen where they actually went inside and added the extra packaging. And I have to say that's impressive. I'm gonna call out good. I'm a positive channel. Like, if something's bad, I'll say it, but I'm not a rant channel. I'm not an angry channel. So if that's what you like, you're not gonna like it here, because that's not me. But I have to say that just the fact that they did that extra stuff makes me feel better, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the quality is going to be great. Still could be bad, but it does give me more hope, the fact that they added this extra padding. And like I said, look at that. Like, this is what the outside was wrapped in, but even thicker than this. And it was like all the way around the box. So that's pretty cool. And then, as I said, there's even more on the inside. Look at that. So even more here to give it even more protection, bubble wrap. So that's sweet. And, it makes sense. And then look, here, some more. So really good padding. So all this stuff is going to fall out, which doesn't bother me. But as I said, one of the reasons why I was excited to get this was because of all the accessories. I mean, just look at all this stuff. Like holy cow. There's like so much here. And you can switch out everything. And I guess that's where it can be scary sometimes when dealing with KOs, because, if it's something simple, then one can feel like easier, that it's not going to be hard to have something break or have issues with it. But the more things you're swapping, the more articulation it has, the more pieces it has, then you have to hope that the quality keeps up with it. So that's what we're trying to find out here. But as I said, we're gonna go through these accessories because there's so much. It's like it's gonna take me time to go through all of this. Like that's why like these end up being even longer, because like if I just get a regular figure that maybe has a hand or a head swap, you know, that's really short. But I mean these where it's like tons of hands. I mean, look at all these different hands that you have here. And then you have the stand as well. I think I'm gonna leave the stand in there for now, 'cause I mean it's pretty simple stand. I don't think you guys need to see how a stand works, right? And then it has like some instructions here on, I guess, what you can swap out and what you can't. Well, I guess maybe not what you can't, but you can see you have to kind of go on pictures here, but it's telling you like how you can swap out the head, different things you can put, the hands, then the, I guess like the tentacle blade thingies, the weapons, and then just all the different tentacle parts that go on the figure. So that's cool to have that for people who are not used to that. And let's see, so we got the guns in here, and that's kind of interesting that these were like more protected in here, didn't fall out like everything else. So that's interesting. And it's funny too, because sometimes like I've seen both legit and KO whatever, where they'll sell gun packs, and gun packs will sometimes be 10-20 bucks itself, just for like a bunch of different guns. So to me, to get this figure for 20 bucks and then have all these extra like guns and accessories is pretty sweet. So let me also get, oh, it looks like this is easier because it's just another layer. So I mean there's a lot of plastic to this. So you have different effects here. This was like that kind of blade piece that they were showing in the instructions, and I'm just gonna dump all this out here because it's, like I said, it's a lot, and I appreciate that because that's cool. So let's move this out because the camera's already gonna go crazy with all the different things on the screen anyway. But let's like look at these hands. So far, just, you know, just looking at that. So if you've seen one of these reviews before, you always see where I'll talk about like the quality thing. So I mean, that's kind of the big thing where someone will say, well, look at that paint, you know, especially I notice white. Like white paint on things is usually where there'll be like an issue. So like you'll see like, you know, like here, like where, you know, the paint wasn't done really that great. But as I said, I've never had any high-end action figure myself. Like I've never had a hot toy or any, I don't even think I've even had an action figure that's more than 50. So the thing is that is for me, I've seen issues with paint on low-end, you know, Marvel Legends, Black Series, all that. I've seen issues. So to me, it's not like a huge thing, but I'm sure the people who are buying like legit, you know, Yamaguchis and stuff like that, you're not going to accept any issues as far as paint. You know, looking at the head, like you can see, like look at that. So I mean, like for me, as I said, I know all this going into this, you know, so it's not like I go in here saying, oh, I'm going to pay, you know, 20 bucks and it's going to look exactly like the real Yamaguchi. Like, no, I'm not expecting that. But at the same time, you do kind of hope that it's not totally jacked up because, you know, it's still money, even if it's much less. So, I mean, I assume that things like guns is going to be like not difficult to do, you know. But sometimes you can see like maybe where the plastic was cut or something, there might be an issue. So I like to look at the smaller things. So like, you know, the little pouches on his belt. I mean, that looks cool, right? Nothing wrong with that. And then like most of the tentacle pieces are the same. I like to always check to see if it's loose. So like, this is an example of what I would say. But as I said, I've seen this on other things I've collected. You know, those of you out there who collect higher end figures, let me know, do you ever find these issues on, you know, your expensive figures? But I do like to check, like to see if it's going to be too loose or does something break from here, because that's always a good indicator possibly on quality. So like this feels good, it moves well, doesn't feel loose or anything like that. So that's always good. We got more guns here. That's same gun. I don't know if this is, I guess maybe you could, part of these you could put together. Here's the overall large weapon. So that's looking cool. I mean, nothing crazy, but I like it. And then for instance, the webs. And a lot of times, since a lot of my collections I get at garage sales and open, I don't even, this is the first figure I actually have that comes with webs. I mean, I think I have some others I bought that I haven't done a review yet, but I actually didn't collect a lot of Spider-Man or anything like that, or not new anyway. So more of the tentacles. So holsters. So I mean, that's the thing with this. All this stuff is like things that you can switch out. So that's sweet. More guns. So it's like lots of weapons, more belt pieces, another web, and I think, oops, I just dropped it. Luckily not too far. So even like the eyes. So that's sweet. I have to say, like, the eyes look pretty cool. So you can even swap out the eyes. So, oh, let me at least show the feet. So I was seeing if how's it sit. So that's not bad. You know, you got that articulation, and again, so far so good. You know, doesn't feel loose or anything. Looks fine. And here's the other one. Same thing. Looks fine. And I think all the rest of this is pretty much the same. Yeah, it's just the same type of gun piece. And then here's like the different effects here. So these effects actually look pretty cool. All right, so that's that. So let's start looking at the figure. So again, it's one of those things where I start out overall, like, how does the figure feel? Because that's what a lot of people think about, like when they talk about getting any type of bootleg or knockoff. You know, they want to know, does it feel like cheap plastic? Does it feel like it's going to break? Is it super light? Well, I can tell you, this has weight to it. It doesn't feel cheap. I mean, I could already see some more issues, like maybe with the paint. Like I think that's something there, because it just sticks out of place. So, and like, see, like, so like, this is what people will say, like on the side here, like how the paint is and stuff like that. So I mean, the thing is that it all depends on like how you're displaying, who's seeing it. Like for me, like I'm just having fun with it, and I just like how it looks overall. But I can understand if someone's like having like a real display, and maybe they have a glass case with a light, and they have like a couple of really primo figures, then you probably wouldn't want to get a knockoff where, you know, you can see imperfections next to your most coveted figure. So I get that. But for me, this is also just trying things out and seeing like how it looks. So it's like here, like you can see again on the back, like the issues with the paint and stuff. But let's just talk about movement. So we all know that that the movement for these Yamaguchis and Revoltech, lots of articulation. And I had my other video with Deadpool, and I had one coming up with, oh no, actually that one should already be out, with Arkham Knight. And you know, that's one of the things that's cool, is the articulation. And I know with those, I was worried too. I was like, okay, man, you could do all these moves and all these poses, but does that mean that it's gonna fall apart? And I didn't have anything with that. So, you know, with this, I've also tried to be a little bit more like really move it and not be too gentle, because like my instinct is to just be gentle, but I want to be sure that, hey, look, if I'm just moving it normally and like readjusting things and something breaks, I want you to see it, and I want to be like, hey, look, I was just moving this thing and it broke. But so far it feels good. So I mean, I guess we can start also. So you can see down here, like they didn't have the feet on there, so you can put that on. This would be a good chance to just see, is it something that's difficult? Because that's another thing, like when you're switching stuff out. So oops, so it's like up here how it fits. So it's not easy, and that's one of the things that also, because you know you have to put a little, oh okay, I think I was just had it angled incorrectly. Oh, no, guess not, because it didn't fit all the way in. So that's one of the things with these is like, how's it feel when you're actually swapping something out? Because with all these parts, you in theory want to be able to do that without any issue. And that's the thing, like it feels like it connects fine. Like, see that like when I pushed in, that felt fine, but then as soon as you move it, it comes out. So I don't know if that's me, but I'm gonna check that out a little bit later and see if it does more. But overall, you know, you have all the movement down here, like you see how the joint is here. That's cool. I think, oh no, I thought maybe this removes as well, but I don't think that these remove. It's kind of interesting too, because I guess because of this, you don't have that extra articulation down there. I was just seeing at the calf area. So it looks like because of this like spike armor thing, it's really just the leg. But I mean, you can see what you can do as far as the leg moving back here. And just to give you an example while I'm doing this too, this is like the pieces that you can add. So let's just see that, for example. All right, so that seemed fine. Because sometimes you want to know like, okay, is a lot of things going to fall apart here? And I don't know if everything has to be in a certain way. So like this is a different one. So this was that smaller one that looks like it could be more belt related. And then this seems like it would be like the right one. But I just want to see overall, like if I do it like that, what's the difference? Oh, so this one, maybe not. Because this one doesn't seem like it's, maybe that's, oh no. Again, I guess maybe that was me. All right, so that's how that fits here. So that's fine. So that's good. And I assume, see, like when my hand brushed against this, it seemed like it came out kind of easy. But again, I think that, you know, obviously if it's not falling out while standing or like shaking, then I don't really have a problem with that. And it could just be just how I'm specifically doing it. But you have the thigh cut here, so you can do turn, and then you have the ball in up, you know, near the waist area. So you have a lot of extra movement that you can do with the legs there, of course. And then, like I said, you got the ab crunch, you got the waist turn, and then of course we know that you can swap out the hands. So you got the rotation of the hands. You can see the ball here, so you can do all types of movement with the arm, and then of course the shoulder. I mean, see how they do the shoulder here? So that's cool because you get that motion where you're able to really do a lot of movement with the arms. And you can see like how it's done there with the joint there. And then same thing with the head. Good movement. I mean, that's one of the things that you can see with these, where you can really look down and do a lot of poses. So it's like you have different ranges. And again, all this so far feels well. It doesn't feel loose. It feels like you can turn it and put it into its place. I like this, like around his neck. That's cool. Separate piece. Same thing with the belt. Looks like, oh, so the belt opens up as well. So it looks like, yeah, so the belt, you have these same hinges here. So I guess you can do other things with the belt as well. So that's sweet. Yeah, so overall, like I said, a lot of articulation, a lot of points. So it looks like as far as like the points to put the tentacles in, is it like that? No, because that one feels too small for that. I'm trying to see which one. I guess it's these, because this one, if you look the difference between this one and this one, you can see. So let's see if this one is the one in the back. I get, no, maybe not. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's here. I guess maybe that's what the instructions are to help with that. So I know, so that fits in there. I mean, I didn't push too hard, yet. But it's an example of having that ball, because now you put it in there and you could do different movements. So, and then of course you can switch out the head. So I guess that would be one thing we'll do before we put on the turntable, is just try that swap, because this is where things can go wrong. So that wasn't too hard to remove it. So you can see there the hole. So let's see about swapping one of these many hands. Let's try like that. All right, so that was really easy. And once it's in, and you can see like here, so it has that same little ball joint there, so you're able to move around. So you see the hands is kind of weird, but again, it's Venom, so I don't really mind that. So you have that. So I guess the big thing is like the head. Oh, well, also the eye. So that's that works out fine. So you see, so the eye. Let's see here. We have the different eyes. It's kind of funny because it makes me think of like contacts. I'm trying to see, is this... Yeah, I was wondering if this was the one where it's two pieces of plastic like one of the other pieces before, and that's what it does seem like. So, oh my goodness. Oh, now the eyes are popping out. All right. All right, so we got one of the eyes here. Then, so we pop it in like that, and that seems to fit right. Just checking to see if it like flies out. No, doesn't seem to fly out, so that's cool. And then the head itself, I think was like this. Yeah, there we go. So a little bit of a pull, and again, whenever it comes to knockoffs, it can get a little scary. So you can see under here like that. So then we have this other Venom head. So let's see how that goes. And again, these are always weird because it's like, it feels like you have it correct, and then next thing you know, not so much. But it could just be, again, I know that I've seen where like when you try to put it on a certain way, you really have to kind of like angle it in. So I'm not saying at all that, you know, me not being able to get it on the first try has anything to do with the quality. It's probably user error. But I'm not gonna spend too much time messing around with that. I'm sure I can switch out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this on the turntable. I'm gonna fix the head on. I'm gonna put some more of the tentacles, and then we're gonna do final thoughts. All right. So I will say that I'm using the stand basically because with the turntable plus all the tentacle things, it's a little bit harder to get it positioned to stay very well while it's turning. Though I will say that without turning and just having him stand up is fine. But one thing I did notice is it with the feet here. I don't know if this is a design flaw or not, but I'll zoom in here actually real close to you so you can see. So if you look when it comes around here, basically on the foot area, it looks like you're basically supposed to have the foot there in the little groove in the circle there so you can move around it. But on the other end, doesn't quite do that. It's kind of off. So it doesn't sit, you can't really get a straight standing motion like that. But I also see that when you pull out and you're looking at it overall and the different kind of stances that you could make him take, then I could say, okay, well, in that case, then perhaps that's not an issue because of the different way that you oppose it. So that could be me. Let me know in the comments if that's how they would do that with the groove and the foot placement. Now how I actually placed them, that was me because I was just messing around so I could just see the feet. But as I said, like most of it here is just like all the different pieces, and like I do admit that it does seem pretty easy. These pieces on the side do seem to come off pretty easy, like you brush against them. But I kind of noticed that with some of the other pieces is that you really have to give it a good push. Like you can't be too kind, like I just gentle, I guess would be the word for with it. And I think that it's one of those things that over time, as I mess around with it, it'll be fine. Cause like even with the web shooter here, like I had to really play to get that into the groove in the hand. But it seems like once you do that, then it's fine. And one of the most important things to me was once I did that, it wasn't as if it became loose and then started coming out. The blast effects came on pretty easy. Again, I switched out of hands again to get more of the traditional gun holding hand, and that was fine. The other head, I still have a problem putting it on, and I did see that some people did have an issue more with the KO version than anything else. But they said that, you know, you just play around with that. As far as the tentacles, I did not have a problem with that, which I have to say that I'm pleasantly surprised. So let me stop the spinning for a second. Actually, I think that with mine, it's weird because it'll have no charge and I'll plug it in for a second and it'll seem like there's a charge. One thing I can say is I'm a total noob because I didn't realize that that's what this like half gun is for. So that when you put it into the slot here, like that's basically how it fits. And this one was a little loose at first, I think, but I think it's fine now. So I mean that's how that works. So that when you plug it in and then you have it on his legs like that, that's how you get that effect where it's a half gun. So that's pretty sweet. I think that's a cool way. I should have figured that out, but I guess I didn't. So overall, I have to say I don't have a problem with this. Like it doesn't feel like there's anything that was cheap. Oh, but you see this is what I was saying though. This was the one thing with the foot where, so you see how here on this side, when it's not straight ahead like this one. So this one here, like when he's standing straight, you have the groove lined up here. But if you look at this side, it's to the side. At first I thought that you could move this here, but you can't. You can't move any of these down here. So when you're putting in the foot, then you're trying to, you think that you're getting that groove in the middle, right? Because it feels like that's where it would fit correctly. So then when you push it in, then it's in the groove, but when you're in that groove, then it's kind of off. So I don't know if that's so that when you're playing around on the stance, because see, like if you do like a wider stance like that, it doesn't look like anything's wrong, right? But if you try to get more of like you can't really, it doesn't look like you get a straight stance with this. And I know that I had the hip a little turned, but see now, like, then the foot's still over here. And if you try to turn over here, then it's going to come out the groove. So that could be a design thing, but to be honest with you, I'm not really sure about that. But as I said, like the part in the back with the tentacles, so all of that plugged in with no problem. And then you can see you have all the motion from back here. And then the smaller points that I showed earlier, those are plugged in up here. So then you have that motion, then you have this motion. So that's how you get the overall tentacle movement. So there's a lot of posing. See, turn up here. Even though there's a part up here that seems kind of loose, you see how that is? But that's where that plugs in there. But that's basically where you get all that range of motion as far as his tentacles and stuff like that. And see, like, because of that groove, like, so I have to say this must be a design thing, because the other foot seems to stay, but then this one, it's like ever since from the very beginning, it's like it feels like it's an issue. Like it only really works if you put it in on that side like that. So let me see one last thing to get, because I did have him standing, even though it's kind of like a weird pose, like kind of like a leg spreaded pose. It's kind of weird. But I think that some of these is just, you know, it's new, so you play around with it, you're trying, you know, there's so many parts that come out. I don't think that it is indicative of like once you have it set up to do a pose, like it's not going to fall out then. But let me know if other people have experiences where once if they're like trying to, you know, articulate it while pieces like this are in it, they fall out, because you see now both of them fell out. And then I also see like with the belt, like I do have to like readjust it and things like that. But I can definitely say at least the other foot is fine. I mean, this one might be fine if you're really supposed to do this more wide stance. You can see it stands. The hands grip well, and they switch out well. The eyes were fine as far as switching the eyes. I'm just having a problem switching the head, but I think that that just could be a thing where I just got to play around with that. The tentacles seem great. So, and nothing like broke. So I would say overall, I'm cool with it, even though we've shown that there's issues regarding like the paint and stuff like that. But I'm still happy overall because I think it looks sweet, especially for me, like the way I do my shelves. I have a lot going on. I mix and match and stuff like that. So I think it's really cool. So overall, much longer review, but there's so many pieces and parts. I at least wanted to like give a brief talk about them and how they fit. It's really cool that they also, inside the case with the stand, they also give you some extra of the pieces for, you know, like the hand, the tentacles and stuff like that, which is nice, you know, in case you lose it and stuff like that. And I think now, see, this is one thing I don't know. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is to help. Maybe this is to help with opening the different areas, the holes. I've never seen actually this before. So someone educate me in the comments, because as I said, I'm not a pro. I'm a novice. I'm learning. So, but that's what this would look like. So I get the feeling like this is like helps you do something like that. Like perhaps like to help you get the adjustment. Would that be it? Or if maybe something got stuck? That's the only thing I could think that this would do. But I could be wrong. But as I said, overall, I'm happy with this. It's cool. It lets me practice how to articulate. It gets me to practice how to swap out parts. So for, again, $19.86, I'll put the link in the description in case you want to buy it. But I'm happy to have this as part of my collection. And I actually think, even with all my fumbling and bubbling, that you'll be happy to have it as part of yours. Hey, thanks for checking out the channel. And if you like what you've seen, please consider giving us a like, comment, a sub, all that stuff. It really helps the algorithm as we try to make a push to reach out to more collectors that, like me, like to get that discount. Because you know how I say, no discount, no deal. All right, catch you later.